Welcome to today's On This Day in Tudor History with me, Claire Ridgway. Now today I'm taking you back to the reign of Queen Elizabeth I, and I'm actually going to be talking to you about a Welshman. Now I may be half Welsh, but that doesn't mean that I can pronounce any of these Welsh names very well, so apologies to the Welsh people watching this. So on this day in Tudor history, the 27th of July 1593, Roman Catholic priest and martyr Blessed William Davies was hanged, drawn and quartered at Beaumaris Castle on the Island of Anglesey. But who was Davies and why was he executed? Well, let me give you a few facts about this Welshman. We don't know Davies's precise birth date, but it was probably around 1556. Now, he came from a place called, and I've got to try and pronounce this, Croes-yn-Eirias, a hamlet to the west of Colwyn Bay in North Wales. A man called William Davies studied at St Edmund's Hall in Oxford from 1575 and graduated in 1578, but we don't know for sure whether it was this William Davies. It does make sense though with the dates. In April 1582, Davies entered the Jesuit seminary at Reims in France, where he was ordained as a priest by Cardinal Guise on the eve of Passion Sunday in April 1585, the same year that Queen Elizabeth I's government brought in its act against Jesuits and seminary priests, making it treason for a Jesuit priest to be in England. Davies was then sent to England on a mission to convert people to the old ways, i.e. the Catholic faith. Davies chose to go back to his home territory in North Wales, which came under English rule. There he joined forces with a local dignitary called Robert ap Hugh, or Robert Pugh, and resided at his house, Plas Penrhyn, and joined a local community of Catholic recusants. In 1586, Davies, Pugh and their fellow recusants were forced into hiding, finding refuge in caves in the cliffs of the Little Orme headland. It is not known what happened to make them move, but their move did coincide with the death of Sir Henry Sidney, Lord President of the Council in the Marches, who was alleged to have had Catholic sympathies. Following his death, the council were commanded to take action against Catholic gatherings and those celebrating the Mass. While the recusants were hiding in the caves, they built a printing press, and it's believed that Davies and Pugh were among those involved in the printing of Ydrych Cristnogol, I hope I pronounced that right, or the Christian Mirror, an important early Welsh Catholic book, and the first book to be printed on Welsh soil, also they think. The book dealt with the Catholic teaching on death, the Day of Judgment, hell and heaven, and it was printed as a pocket book so it could be carried around and hidden away easily. Davies was arrested at Holyhead in March 1591 by Fulk Thomas. He was with 4 young men whom he was planning on escorting to Ireland for them to travel on to Spain to become seminary priests. They were also arrested. Davies was taken to Beaumaris Castle, where he was interrogated in the presence of Hugh Bellet, Bishop of Bangor. Davies eventually confessed to his missionary work, but would not name names. He was put into solitary confinement in a dungeon in the castle for a month before he was allowed to talk to fellow Catholics and to celebrate Mass with them, and he was also allowed visits from Protestants who wanted to debate with him. Robert Pugh, who'd managed to avoid arrest, wanted to help Davies escape, but Davies wouldn't. At the next Anglesey Assizes, Davies was found guilty of treason, but he was not sentenced as it was hoped that he could be persuaded to recant his Catholic faith. He was sent to Ludlow to be examined by the Council of the Marches, but he would not turn away from his faith, and he was imprisoned in Bewdley for a time before being sent back to Beaumaris, where he spent his last 6 months ministering to his fellow Catholic prisoners and praying. The summer assizes of 1593 sentenced Davies to die as a traitor. And on this day in history, the 27th of July 1593, Davies was drawn to the gallows within Beaumaris Castle's walls. There he prayed on his knees before climbing the scaffold and saying, "This island, Anglesey, was called in the old time the Dark Island, the which name it never better deserved than at this present. But I beseech God that the blood which I am brought hither innocently to shed may give a light unto it of that faith which it hath received above 1,000 years agone." He then took the noose, kissed it, placed it around his neck and said, "Thy yoke, O Lord, is sweet, and thy burden light." Davies was then hanged, fortunately for him, until he was dead, rather than being cut down alive. And then he was disemboweled, beheaded and quartered. According to an article by Joseph Kelly, his head was set on top of his prison cell. 2 of his quarters were hung in Beaumaris Castle, 1 in Conway Castle and the 4th at Caerhys. In 1909, a chapel was erected to his memory at Beaumaris, and he was beatified in November 1987 by Pope John Paul II as one of the 85 martyrs of England and Wales. I'll give you a link to read a detailed article on William Davies, as he really is an interesting and courageous man, someone that I actually want to read much more about. Also on this day in Tudor history, the 27th of July 1588, Robert Dudley, Earl of Leicester, wrote to his Queen, Elizabeth I, with an invitation. He was intent on keeping the Queen, the woman he loved, out of harm's way. What was this invitation? Well, you can find out more in last year's video. You'll find a link to it in the description. Thank you for joining me. You can subscribe by clicking round about there. You can hit the bell to be notified, and the bells are ringing out at the moment. And you can give me a like and leave me a comment. I'll be back tomorrow. See you then. Bye bye.